Yeah? Can you all hear me? Okay. So, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the press conference of the Global Forest Coalition at the 28th COP. And this has also been 28 years of an unwavering trend in the rise of climate emissions, right? We are undeniably moving into what the IPCC called, damningly, Code Red. And in order to mitigate that, we are also told that we have to reduce global emissions by 43% by 2030. How on earth do we do that? Well, not to worry, we have the answers for you here today. We're actually here to talk about the money, right? Because we all know that the main issue at every COP, at every climate conference, is always climate finance. And it is always a contentious topic. Developing countries have made their message very, very clear. Meaningful climate actions need climate finance. Now, though the global north is yet to fulfill climate obligations pledged way back in 2009, we looked closer into existing financial flows. And what we found was that millions have gone into promoting climate change solutions that, one, do not mitigate climate change. Two, do not enable communities who are vulnerable and impacted to support climate resilience. Third, this finance does not enable them to realize their self-governance and their tenurial and collective rights to conserve, protect, and restore forests and biodiversity. Rather, we find that these climate finance flows are promoting false solutions that not only leads to deforestation and biodiversity loss, but has huge impacts on the rights of communities, women's access to land and resources, and the destruction of livelihoods. Today, we have a panel that will clearly spell out the relationship between existing climate finance flows and the promotion of false solutions. We need to reject and resist these false solutions. We also need to demand the redirection of climate finance to support real solutions. We are from the Global Forest Coalition. We are a coalition of 129 Indigenous Peoples organizations, gender justice and women's groups, and other NGOs spread across 75 countries in the world. Our campaign and advocacy is mainly to amplify the voices of our member groups working on the ground. We address the drivers of forest and biodiversity loss and related climate policies. We campaign against the corporate capture of false climate solutions and forest and climate policies. We also advocate for a gender-just, rights-based ecosystems approach to community-driven real solutions. I will be your moderator today. I'm Chitira Vijayakumar of the Global Forest Coalition. Each of our panelists will speak to you today for about 4 minutes each, and then I will be forced to interrupt you. First, we're going to begin with Maureen Santos from FACE in Brazil. Take it away, Maureen.
Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you, Chitira, for the... As you already said, the climate finance, it's going into false solutions. When you walk in all these corridors, since the beginning, I'm imagining you already is here, maybe 4 days, you can see, like you call in Brazil, like 50 tons of green, of carbon markets and false solutions. And when you connect and hear about what kind of climate finance they are bringing to us to really propose something that can stop this climate crisis and bring us any kind of hope to face this problem, I always come back to market options. I always come back to new kind of market options, like green bonds, like the nature-based solutions, like this kind of markets that bring approach like net zero, and also think about not only for the short term, but when you talk about net zero, for example, we are talking about 2050. So we will also talk about the future. And when you bring real solutions to the panel, to the tables, you always saw that this is not enough, or this is very short experiment, or this is a kind of simple experience or practice that's only a kind of local alternative that cannot have scale to deal with the big problem. But you have here a lot of already very processes, very important in the territories that is making difference in this kind of climate finance that should be support for not only their own countries, but bring here and have voice and space to bring the solutions, to have other kind of alternatives for this main debate. So what you hear from our colleagues is special examples in how can you bring this climate finance and take off from these main and mainstream proposals that you can see here inside and bring that to other kind of perspective that can be based to the just transition, can be based to the climate justice, and also bring the historical responsibility, but also the historical debt that these developed countries have with the Global South. And for that, the Global Forest Coalition keep denouncing during all these years following the COPs, the dangerous distraction related to these false solutions, and most of, and that come to turn not only about distraction, but it come to turn about how is the value about our future that they are putting here in the case without any kind of real process that we can deal with all these problems that you are seeing all over in our countries. For example, in Brazil, right now, you have two huge problems in completely different areas of our country. In the Amazon region, you have a very dry situation, where is the communities that depend of the river to do their locomotion, they have to be stuck in their lands because they can't have space anymore as all the rivers is dry in some regions, like in the state of Amazonas. In the south of Brazil, you are having right now a huge flood and a lot of rain all the time, and the city is not used to deal with that. And at the same time, you don't have processes and policies that can guarantee the food sovereignty and the food security. That's a very important thing connected to the climate agenda. So I think my time is gone, but it's very important to say that's not here that that be announced yesterday by the high level a fund with $30 billion for climate finance, and $5 billion will be for Global South, but all to bring investors to these false solutions. Because when they connected these ideas of investment in climate, what they're talking about? They're talking about all these 50 tons of carbon market. So, and the other example that this fund brings us, a very scary thing, that's connected to big investors like BlackRock, that already saw what BlackRock is doing in our lands and buying lands in our territories and turning and increasing the conflicts between the populations, indigenous people and traditional communities in the territory of BlackRock arrive and take the land. So my time is gone, so thank you very much for the opportunity.
Thank you so much, Maureen, and we'll hear more from you during the discussion Q&A, I'm sure. Now we're going to move on to Kwame Kuponzo from the Center for Environmental Justice in Togo.
Thank you very much, Chitira. The first solutions are being pushed to the continent, Africa, and the Global South. And we've seen our forests being degraded, so a lot of deforestation. We also see our land being grabbed for green economy. And the remaining forests are now being handed over to the private companies to generate carbon credit. Plantations, which are not forests, also are being pushed, and energy crops are being promoted for logging, building constructions, and timber also being promoted to produce pellets and to produce energy. Trees are burnt to produce energy. So all those things lead to land grabbing. And land grabbing is a synonym of oppression. Women are oppressed because they don't have land anymore. We have waters that are polluted because of huge plantations. And all those things are impacting seriously our communities in the global south, and especially in Africa. So there is a deluge of fossil or forced solutions in Africa. So for example, in terms of plantations, we have the African Forest Restoration Initiative 100, an Africa-wide initiative aiming to restore 100 million hectares of degraded forests land by 2030, and pledge from 30 countries have now exceeded the target by more than 25 million hectares. Half of the 30 participating countries currently have targeted involving commercial plantations. So these amount to 91% increase in land area currently occupied by commercial plantations in Africa, and will need to be implemented at an alarming rate, nearly 500,000 hectares a year. So who are those developed countries involved in this? So we have Germany government through its Federal Ministry of Economic Cooperation and Development plays a key role in FI 100. It has so far provided around 4.4 million euros in support of FI 100, including financing the FI 100 Secretariat and projects such as projects in Togo, in Ethiopia, Cameroon, and Madagascar. So all of which include tree plantations in their FI 100 pledges. So the initiative hopes to leverage $100 million. So looking back and having considered the bold challenge with pledge of restoring 150 million hectares and then revised to 350 million hectares. And then we have New York Declaration that stated it clearly. This also involves a financial flow around 1,200 billion. So the key bilateral donors are Germany, France, Norway, and the US. And then the EU, Green Climate Fund, and Global Environmental Facility. So I think we need to continue fighting those forced solutions, especially the plantations, through those fancy projects. We need to restore our forests, but it's very important to look at the way we're going to restore them. We also need to be very clear on the public finance. So the public finance is used to promote forced solutions like the plantations, as I said, burning trees, offsetting red projects. So we very need to continue to combat the public finance that's destroying our continent, that's destroying our land and forests. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Kwame, for those numbers and those names. Next, we have Dilraj Kanal from FECOFAN in Nepal.
Good afternoon. Thank you very much for providing this opportunity to me to share and highlight some of the community-based experience and concern, particularly from the least developed country, particularly from Nepal. here actually I want to highlight some of the real solutions developed by the real solutions to address the impact of climate change, particularly from the local community, how they are developing or how they are enhancing their own community-based natural resource management system, particularly the community forest management system, to address the impact of climate change. Actually, not only in my country, Nepal, but if we review the the situation of the different countries, particularly about the deforestation, previously, if we analyze the information or data or the community-based experience in many countries, including Nepal, the the deforestation rate was really very high. In my country, during the decades of 1990, the deforestation rate was really very high, and at that time about 35% land was covered by the forest. But now we have more than 45% forest land in my country. How it is happening? Therefore, here, what I want to highlight that actually, due to huge pressure from the corporate sector or pressure for the commercial interest or due to weak governance, particularly from the government, the deforestation rate was really very high. But when the indigenous people and local communities, including women group particularly at ground level in the community or in the rural area, when they started to manage their forest area by themselves based on the community governance system, based on their own traditional knowledge and customary practices, based on their own decision-making process, the bottom of the decision-making process, when they started those type of initiatives, then they became able to stop, to halt the deforestation. Therefore, now we have almost 50% land is covered by the community forest. This is the situation. Therefore, if we recognize the community governance system, if we recognize the collective tenure right of the indigenous people and local communities and women who are managing their forest by themselves, and if we respect or we accept the equitable benefit sharing generated by from the forest resources, then definitely these type of motivating factor can contribute, can support to the local indigenous people and local communities to manage their forest resources, their water resources, their natural resources by themselves. These are some of the motivating factors. These are some of the important elements to recognize at national level and at international level. This is the situation. And we are reviewing the global stock-taking text. And if we review carefully, the draft text actually not highlighted those type of community contribution. And there is some sort of gap between the ground level practices and global level, the draft GSD, global stock-taking document. Therefore, our concern is that the local community, they have also their own some sort of stock-taking. They have their own practices, they have their own norms, value and system, how they can manage their natural resources, their forests by themselves in a sustainable manner. Therefore, there is necessary to maintain some sort of linkage between community stock-taking and global stock-taking. If there is no linkage, if there is no any recognition from the ground level, the norms, values and practices of the community, then there will be some sort of gap, and there will be some sort of difficulties, particularly for the local communities who are managing their forests by themselves. Therefore, my conclusion is that, particularly in the global stock-taking document, there is necessary, it should recognize the customary practices or community governance system during the finalization of those documents. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Dilraj, for that strong and clear message. And finally, we have Suparna Lahiri of Global Forest Coalition.
Thanks, Sidira. So you heard that, what Kwame and Maureen was talking about, how the forest solutions are still being, passed off as climate actions or climate solutions and where the climate finance is actually going to the flow. And Dhiraj very rightly pointed out that at the same time we have real solutions, the communities have their real solutions, and they are not being supported, they are not being provided with policy and financial support. So even if the developing countries, as you see, are saying that there is no climate finance, true, but whatever is being pumped by the global north in terms of climate finance is going to promote and support false solutions. That's a reality today. And be it plantations, as Kwame rightly pointed out, this is staggering $1,200 billion to be spent by 2030 on plantations only, which are not forests, which doesn't give any benefit to biodiversity, forest, or the communities. Second is bioenergy from energy plantations, touted as renewable energy. Bullshit. This is burning of trees. And EU is saying that from 2015 they have spent 17 billion pounds to subsidize that bioenergy. Drax alone was paid 893 million pounds in 2021. And then come to the great RED Plus thing. You know, the RED Plus needs $15 billion at least per year. And it has already spent around $8 billion. Norway, US, UK, who is not doing that? And top of it, right now we are seeing that the UN agency, UNDP, is developing carbon market programs. A UN organization financed by public finance is developing carbon market capacity building and projects. Norway has just now released 4.5 million Norwegian kroner to develop carbon markets. And this is public finance, your and my money. And they are pumping it to the kind of false solutions everywhere. And now, if you are aware of all the recent developments in Africa, why? Article 6.2 and 6.4 of the Paris Agreement, under the UNFCCC premises, is being pushed, run by public finance, and that's all carbon market. And all the African countries that we know are now being, their forests and land are being captured by the companies in the name of generating credits. Where will the communities go? Where will their rights go? The lands are being secured totally from them. And to state that the African governments, in the name of climate finance, which we don't know how much they will get, pittance perhaps, are actually selling not only the lands and forests, but selling of their sovereignty to the northern governments and companies. And this must stop. So we are talking of a campaign which we are carrying on from this year, that there has to be divestment from divesting of public finance towards promoting and supporting false solutions, and redirect that public finance to promote and support real solutions on the ground. And real solutions means gender-just, rights-based, ecosystem approach to any of the forest policies and climate policies. Without that, there is nothing that we can do today or talk of mitigating climate change. Other than that, everything, as I said, is bullshit. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that, Suparna. People are being forced to sell their sovereignty. There is no better way to really capture this whole topic. We will move swiftly on to questions. If you have a question, may I request that you please stand up, and we'll make sure a microphone finds you. Yes, please.
Just if you can stand, sir.
Thank you.
Yes, please. On the camera.
Limo Bassi, All Watch. it's really alarming to hear about the massive amount of land grabbing going on in the name of carbon offsetting or carbon credits. Now, it's more alarming to hear that United Nations agencies are also promoting these false solutions. If the UN agencies, who are the host of COP28 and who take care of climate change negotiations, are involved in this kind of situation, what is the hope then for the communities?
Who would like to take this question?
Okay. So, yeah, thank you. I think this is a big question. The host itself is involved in the genocide. I think there is still hope because we are working together with communities. And since we are thinking together with communities and we also build capacity of communities to overcome the difficulties, I think there is a hope for us to see the light very soon. So for us, we just need to continue our fight. Thank you.
Can I add? Nemo, I completely understand what you are saying, but it's true that UNFCCC today is being captured fully by the carbon cowboys and the governments who are supporting that, not willing to pump climate finance as their historical responsibility, but banking on private sector. But should we leave this space to them? It is a multilateral forum created for people and us and communities. We are not willing to leave this place to the carbon cowboys. We need to rather join together to reclaim our space for the people, space for the communities, and reclaim the UNFCCC space for the better of the mankind. And that we should do, and we are very clear. Let's reclaim the place.
Thank you, Suparna. And with that, we are unfortunately out of time, but please come and find us outside. We're going to be around. Thank you so much, everybody.